Hello, guys. Welcome to Delight and Fright. We're with your hosts, Kat and Luna. Luna is to my side. Well, this side. Whatever. She's somewhere hovering above me. And we have an awesome author with us today, Dan Henk. But before we get into all the awesomeness that is Dan, how's your week been, Luna? What'd you do this week?
So this week has been busy for me. I'm training new employees, so I'm very busy making learning materials for them and teaching and doing all of that. And then I had to take my dog to the emergency vet because she developed a ear infection. So, just trying to work hard, stay afloat, have fun, and still be able to take care of my puppers. What
And,
about
and,
you?
and not choke out any employees because they're not listening.
Yeah. Yes. But I have mastered the art of making crow friends. Little by little, like a month ago, I was like, you know what? There's these crows that are always around my job. So since I'm there all the time nowadays, I'm gonna befriend them. So I did my research. I found out they can eat unsalted peanuts, just regular unsalted peanuts. So I bought some. They were out grazing in the field, doing whatever crows do. Gave them peanuts. Next day, they were out on the field. Gave them peanuts. The very next day, they came to my door at work, and they were like cawing at me.
Yeah,
And then
they want the peanuts.
and then my coworkers are like, "Come get your friends." And oh god, the on Monday, because I hadn't fed them all weekend because I haven't been there all weekend. 4 of them showed up, and they all started cawing and pecking the window.
Oh,
And
God.
my coworkers are like, "Dude, you gotta get a grip
You
on
gotta
these."
stop. Your friends are not cool here.
No, everybody likes them because we have a very annoying woodpecker that like always bashes the glass. But when the crows are around, the woodpecker does not come. He's like,
Ah,
"Nope, don't want any of that smoke."
they'll fuck him up.
Yeah, so that's what I've been up to, just feeding crows, and I post sometimes on my social media, like me feeding them and stuff. So I
Nice.
got a picture of
Little
all 4 of them lined up, waiting for
nature
me to feed.
time in
Yeah,
nature. Well,
yes.
this week I saw Death of a Unicorn, which was freaking
Ooh,
amazing. I love it. And then today I went and met Gretchen Rubin and got this signed.
ooh.
We're big fans of authors here on Delight
Mm.
and Fright. And I'm very excited to say this is the first time in a long time I went out in public with no bra. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
I
wow.
had to wear this. It wouldn't work, it wouldn't work with anything else. I'm getting choked out a little bit in the back of the neck, but I kind of like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you got Michael Myers like on your freaking neck at all times. That's kind of
So
cool.
it's very freeing, ladies. I'll share with all the ladies, if as long as you got enough material, the nipples aren't like Machine Gun Jubilees dancing around, then
Oh my god.
have a time of it.
And that's Cat. For our lovely viewers, that is our fantastic and adorable cat.
Yes, yes. And we have the very amazing author artist Dan Henk with us today, author of The Never Dead, The End of the World, The Black Seas of Infinity, Down Highways in the Dark.
Ooh,
Ooh.
I like that one.
So we can't wait to hear about all your endeavors, Dan. What is your most recent work that you're working on?
I'm actually doing an anthology right now. The Never Dead is an anthology, and I do a podcast, and I interviewed a lot of authors. Then I started doing like local conventions, and a lot of those authors were there. I was like, why don't I just do an anthology, and I'll like bug all the people I know to be in it. So the first one came out. That's The Never Dead, and a lot of people liked it. So I got a number of the same people and some new people, and I'm putting out a new anthology. It should be out this summer. It's called "The Joke Is on Mankind."
I like that. I like that title. It's
That,
very relevant.
and so he says, "Life is indeed comic, but the joke is on mankind."
I love it. Is it going to be a little more sci-fi,
Mm.
maybe, or just
Is it going to be a little more what?
a little more sci-fi, or just strictly horror?
Well, my favorite is cosmic horror, like the whole like Lovecraft. One of my
Yes.
favorite movies is I don't know if people have seen Event Horizon, but I think it's a great movie. But the whole like Event Horizon aliens vibe is kind of what I was looking for, and there you go.
I'm a
Yeah,
fan. I'm a fan of aliens.
and yeah, I've been tattooing for 25 years, by the way, and when I started tattooing, I was like the Geiger guy. So I've done so many alien sleeves, but yeah, so that was kind of the
Wow.
theme of the first one, but I guess people got it more this time because some of the same authors in it, but they like even angled it more towards that. So yeah, it's very like there's some like kind of like creepy Twilight Zone Lovecraft vibe things. It's not like direct like Star Wars sci-fi, but there's definitely some like out of this world stuff going on.
Are there tentacles? We like the tentacles here on Delight
How
and
could
Fright.
there not be tentacles? How could you have horror without tentacles?
Yay! Tentacles.
Yeah.
Cover
You
your
need,
holes.
you need,
Cover
you
your
need,
holes,
you
Luna.
need lots. You need lots of tentacles. I mean, if it's Lovecraftian, we gotta have
Well,
tentacles.
of course, yeah.
So, other than the sci-fi kind of Lovecraftian stuff that you're working on, is there something that you've written in the past that was like murder mystery or a thriller of some kind?
Well, I'm kind of like maybe it's because I'm a little bit OCD, but like I kind of get ideas and I just kind of expand on that idea as opposed to like having a whole bunch of different ideas. Like
Mm,
it's almost like I want them all to be like kind of like originally I want to do comic books, and one thing that I really like the comic books do is that they have a continuity. So like it might be an issue of like I don't know the Hulk or whatever, but they might mention somebody from like a character or a scene or whatever from a different line, and I kind of like that. So, and it was a huge revelation to me when I read the first Lovecraft stuff. And I'm old, so this is probably like 91 when I first read it. But I read it, it blew my mind. It was like it's kind of like it's horror mixed with sci-fi, but I like dark sci-fi, but it's kind of like more on the horror side than dark sci-fi. It was this whole genre, cosmic horror, that just that kind of triggered me, overwhelmed me, made me want to be part of it, and ever since then, I've had kind of an idea, and I even when I do like something entirely different, I try and link it a little bit to my other stuff going on.
oh, okay.
So that was
Alright.
your calling, like the color of space. You were just like, I must do this.
Yeah, even I don't know if you saw the recent movie with Jack Nicholson. He's like or Nicolas Cage rather. And Nicolas Cage he's kind of hit or miss. Like the first few movies I saw him in, like Raising Arizona and Walter Hart, where he was awesome. So I was like, oh, he's a great actor. Then I saw some stuff like the remake of The Wicker Man, where it's like, oh, the bees,
The bees, not the bees.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, he's got his moments, but I thought he was good in that.
Well, what happened with him is he lost all his money.
Yeah.
So he had to just take any part he was offered. So he was just kind of, just phoning it in. Just like, all right, I need to make my
Hello?
money back.
I did hear that he made some bad decisions, but he always marries basically the same girl. So it's like they keep divorcing him, and they take a bunch of his money, and then he makes some really bad investments. I think he had like an orange farm, and then they got a blight, and they all died. And yeah,
Oh God.
He just seems like his character very like sporadic, like doesn't think things through, and it's just like, yeah, let's do this, and he's all about that, and then it
he
doesn't
seems
work
like
out.
the guy in Raising Arizona.
Yes. I love that movie.
Nice.
Yeah, well, he's a good guy, but he just makes some bad decisions.
Oh yeah. I think we've all had that point in our lives where we're just like, we're good people. We're just like not making really great decisions. Like, I
Right.
mean, whether it's in college or whatever, we have those moments. I think we all have those learning pains, as we like to call it.
So tell us a
Well,
little bit about your. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just gonna say, to his credit, I've never seen him phone the role. Like he has done roles where he totally overacts, but he doesn't phone in like, yeah, this just it's for the money, so I'm not even gonna try. Like it seems like he tries, even when it's like that wasn't the take that I think would have been ideal for that movie, but he still tries.
Yeah, he definitely subscribes to the William Shatner School
I
of Acting.
I'll talk like this. I love early Star Trek though.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I'm all about the next generation because I love Picard. He's so hot. He's my
So,
daddy.
so do you like Star Wars? We have May 4th coming up.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I like. All right, so the original three Star Wars, the original trilogy, I saw two of those in the theater, and I
Oh.
loved them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I remember when we see the last of the first three, we saw it, and then my friends of my parents hadn't seen it, so the very next week I was in line with them to go see that, and that's back when people actually waited in line to see a movie. And I remember we had this line out in the parking lot, and like I could not wait to see it because I thought it was so awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. What's
I mean,
your
I was also like 10, but I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, me too. We saw it at the drive-in. We
Yeah.
were lucky. It was right behind our house, so we didn't have far to go. They could set
Oh.
up a little area for us to like play and do whatever while they enjoyed the movie, and we just kind of looked at the cool parts.
Yes. So what's your favorite horror movie, Dan?
I would say it used to be Evil Dead. Well, Evil Dead 2, which is basically a remake of Evil Dead, but with a bigger budget. And I even have that tattooed on my hands, Evil Dead.
Nice.
Oh.
But now I would actually say it's The Shining.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because Stanley Kubrick, he's just so good. Like technical wise, like everything that he incorporates in that, all the subliminal stuff. I'm just like, he's a master, and I mean, he's done some stuff I like. Like I like Full Metal Jacket a lot. I like Clockwork Orange a lot. But The Shining it's him at horror. So I thought it was a masterclass.
Yeah, I think The Shining is definitely a movie that's super up there. For me personally, what about you, Cam? What's your favorite horror movie? I think
Well,
I think you've told me.
I can see why Dan's is Kubrick. His visuals are just so they stick with you. They burn into you, and they're just there. My favorite is because it has a little bit of everything. Is American Werewolf in London, because you got the awesome prosthetics, you got the werewolf. I'm big on lichens. You got the humor, the comedy. It's just, and the sad story, the love story. It's just a little bit of everything. That's why it's my favorite.
Oh, love that. I do love werewolf stuff. I kind of bounce back. I have a huge affinity for Halloween 3. And I mean, the story is great. People always make fun of it because it doesn't have Michael Myers, but
Season of the Witch.
Yes.
I saw that on TV before I saw any of the other Halloweens, and I do like it.
Yeah, it's just the storytelling is great. But my absolute favorite is The Fog. I like it. I grew up in California. It takes place in a little town in California, little sea town, port town, and just the way they filmed it, the way the fog wasn't cooperating. So what they did is they had to roll back the film. So technically everything was going in reverse. So I think that's kind of impressive if you think about it. For some of those scenes, everything was going in reverse because the fog just couldn't roll in properly. So yeah, and then a lot of interesting cinematography for its time. And I got a film of the fog autographed by the greatest John Carpenter. So I think that's
Are
awesome.
you a fan of a lot of his stuff?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Are you a fan of a lot of his stuff?
Oh yeah.
Like The Thing or In the Mouth of Madness or They
Mhm.
Live, which I think is totally underrated.
Oh, I love They Live. The It's so relatable to today,
It
believe it or
might be a
not.
documentary.
Yeah. No, it's so relatable to today because we
Nice.
still have the divide from the very rich and the poor, and there's a lot of people living in communities like that, where they just have a little tent and they're
Well, I
camping
like all
out.
the subliminal stuff, and it actually says stuff, but you kind of have to like look into a little bit deeper. I really like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It has all the undertones of society and what you're supposed to do. And I like conspiracy-ish movies that make you think and go, can we possibly be living that reality? Kind of like The Matrix.
Yeah.
The Matrix is good. There's a few things that I love about it. So going into a little bit about you and your work, what kind of inspired you to write?
Well, originally, like I like both writing and drawing. I like art in general, and like my big thing is telling stories. Like some people, like they don't mind, like going to the park and just drawing. I'm like, no, I need a story. So I love to draw as long as I'm like bringing to life something. So for the longest time, I was like, I don't know if I want to write or draw. I got to pick one. And then I read the first. Really developed comic books like Watchmen and The Dark Knight. I was like, they're like illustrated comic books, but for adults because I used to like comic books from like the Spinner Rack and stuff, like Alpha Flight and Iron Man and stuff. And I read that, I was like, wait, I can do both. And then when I went to art school and I moved to New York City, and my whole goal was to be a comic book artist, and I interviewed with DC Comics, and that's right when all the comic companies were going bankrupt. So apparently the movie saved them. Like they were on like right on the edge, and that's before the movie saved them. So they're really negative. And I remember I had this like slick like portfolio. It was like aluminum, and I showed it to them, and they looked through it. And they're like, this might work in art school, but let me tell you what sells. And they like pulled out a comic book of Superman punching Lex Luthor. He's like, you want to do this? I was like, no. He's like, we're going to job for you. That was it. That was the whole interview. I was really let down. But
Wow.
after that, I decided like, I started
Mhm.
tattooing. I talked to Penguin Books about doing cover. I was like, maybe I'll bring it to life with like illustrated books. Because that way, I don't spend forever doing storyboard pages, but I can tell like a nice complex story and put some illustrations. I'm like, and they used to do that, like in the old pulp magazine, like Doc Savage and The Shadow and stuff. I'm like, that's what I'll do. So yeah, I forget now what the question was, but I think that's the answer.
That's
so tell
awesome.
us, Dan, a little bit about your writing process. Do you start with a visual and then tell a story about that? How do you realize your structure?
Well, initially I was like, I read a lot, and like I grew up on like my dad's army, so we grew up on like army bases in like the middle of nowhere, and my dad didn't get us a TV, so we had nothing to do except for go to the local library and I check out this whole stack of books and have it read within a week. And so I was like, I read a lot of stories that I really like, so maybe I'll just kind of like emulate that. So, like, I remember I was like putting stories together, and what I think really like solidified it for me was like I did the Stephen King on writing like seminar, the audio book seminar. It's like I don't know, 6 hours or whatever. I did another one by Alan Moore, and I think that really helped me like coalesce everything and bring everything together, like as far as like sentence structure and descriptions, all that stuff. But what I do, because I do my podcast, so I ask everyone what they do, and I find it's a huge mix. But some people do the same way I do, which is I write a bunch of notes, so I don't know exactly how everything's going to happen, but I have a bunch of notes. Like I kind of want this development. This is kind of the end I'm headed towards, and then I'll sit down and I'll start writing, and it might be like 3 hours, it might be 30 minutes. Like the minute I reach a word block, rather than forcing it, I'm like, I'll take a break and I'll like go out for like a bike ride or run or something. And usually, by doing that, like, all the endorphins running through your head and everything. And I'm just thinking about it the whole time. And it never fails, come up with a solution. I'm like, this is a twist. So, that's my process.
That. No, I love that.
I think that's interesting. That's very unique and very interesting. Now, I gotta say, I really, really love your tattoos. I love tattoos. I think tattoos are so pretty. I'm a chicken shit. I'm afraid of needles, and I haven't worked up the courage to get one. But I just based on looking at all your tattoos that you've done and stuff, I can say that I would definitely trust you with the tattoo because you have some beautiful work. And I see a lot of horror stuff that you've done. You've done Frankenstein, you've done Dracula, you've done a lot of really interesting stuff. What has been the coolest horror themed piece that you've done? Like your favorite?
Well, it's one of those things where, like, when you're an artist, often it's like one of your latest things, So maybe like everyone else would be like, "Oh, this is my favorite by you," and you're like, "What I really like is what I worked on recently." So I recently did like a cosmic horror sleeve, so it has like creepy aliens with multiple eyes and like like a space station, this giant planet with like rings around it and stuff, and that I really enjoyed. And the funny thing is, so I did it on an ex-Marine. So it's like this big guy, but I mean, he's a sci-fi nerd. I'm a sci-fi nerd. So, so I did on him, and his armor was cleaned except for he had the word Marines on it. And he's like, or not Marines, USMC, which is Marines, And he's like, I want that covered up. And he didn't want to cover it up because he hates the Marines. He wanted to cover it up because it's like, it doesn't go with the rest of the sleeve. So I covered up with like a spaceship. Like I don't know if you've seen the show The Expanse, which I highly recommend. Really good.
That's a good show.
Yeah. So the Rosinante, which is their main ship, I use that as a cover up for USMC. And he's married and his wife is also in the Marines. She's like, "Why are you covering that up?" He's like, "It didn't go with the sleeve." But I covered up with the Rosinante and I put all these other elements, and I really like the idea of like what went into it. That's one I'm most happy with.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I totally like that. That is like your favorite because it just sounds so cool. And did it take you a long time?
I don't think it really took me a long time because that's one. I mean, obviously that's right up my alley. It's cosmic horror. So like the minute he was like cosmic horror, I'm like, "Hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that?" And like I just throwing stuff out at him, and fortunately he was like, "Yeah, that sounds cool." So we just did it. There's some stuff. The only stuff that's really hard is when it's way off my alley, and often. Fortunately, I've been fortunate enough that I have people that kind of just come to me for my stuff now. And I've even had people try and manipulate stuff they didn't think it was mine, into something I'd want to do, like for a portrait. And they're like, "Yeah, but do it like the girl from The Exorcist," or something like that.
Nice.
And,
where are you based out of, Dan?
Long Beach, New York. So Long Island, basically. I'm like about 35 minutes from the city, from Manhattan.
Okay. Do you travel for tattoo conventions or anything like that?
Well, I did I call it my 15 minutes of fame because I had my like my highlight where I was like in all the magazines and all the books, and people would actually fly me to Europe to a convention, buy the hotel room for me and give me a free booth. So of course I went, So like I've been to I don't know, like 10 conventions in England, 7 in Scotland, 2 in France, Germany, Amsterdam. I've been to like 8 times. So I've been all over. So at one point I would fly everywhere, but kind of the tattoo world has changed. Like it used to be kind of a smaller society, but now like a lot of people only get tattooed by their local favorite artists, and like the local artists will bring clients, to the convention. It used to be like you waited for a convention because somebody would fly in that you would never get to see otherwise. Now it's almost like, yeah, I'll just show off to the local people and I'll bring somebody local. So it's a different vibe. So I don't try as much anymore.
Yeah, that's a shame, because that's why where I got this one. I went to a tattoo convention and I was seeing who was going to be there, looking at their work.
Yeah.
And then I saw his work. I'm like, yes, he can definitely do this. And he lives in I believe it was Paris. He lived in France. So I knew I had to like get it done, and that's what's awesome about going to tattoo conventions, because you can see everybody's awesome work and get what you want, without having to hope that your local, tattoo artist has the passion. Yeah, and the passion to do it, because I never like tell them, oh, I want this specifically. Like, no, I want the artist to create, to do what they do. I just tell them, this is what I want, and then let them be free to do their amazing work. If you could do anything, Dan, what do you enjoy doing the most? Is it tattooing, writing? Let's say, money wasn't an issue. We're in Star Trek land and we're all cared for and fed. What would you spend most of your time
A lot
doing?
of people ask me that, and they go, okay, well, if you had to pick one thing, I was like, I refuse to accept that question. Because, like, I enjoy drawing, and I enjoy writing, and I enjoy tattooing. And if I go a long time without doing one, it to me a long time is like a week.
Okay.
If I go without doing one for a while, I'm like, I got to do that. I got to get back into that.
So you'd be doing exactly what you're doing now then.
Pretty much.
You'd be breaking it up amongst.
I mean, if I had a ton of money, I'd be wealthy doing what I want to do. but I still be doing it, yeah.
But what percentage do you do now? Like, do you do some like 20% tattoos, 30% writing, drawing?
I probably do about well, because I also run a tattoo shop, so I spend a lot of time like doing like boring bullshit stuff, like I don't know if I can curse here, but
you can
stuff like like payroll and like insurance and licensing and all that stuff. Yeah, New York City is crazy with licensing. Like the joke, you have to get a license to get a license. Yeah, it's like we got a sign. They're like, okay, sign fee. I'm like, what business don't have a sign? But you have to pay a sign fee. So if you put a sign in front of your business, yeah. So between tattooing and all the stuff involved in it, it's probably about like 50% of my time, and the other 50% is like writing and drawing. Like I have an art studio in my in the tattoo shop. I have my own room, and in that room, it's like almost split in half. People joke it's like a man cave because you go in there, it's like horror creatures everywhere.
Nice.
But and like paintings and all. Like I have the whole thing made up. But in the front, I have like an art table. I work on paintings and drawings there. Usually, and I download Microsoft Word, and I have an iPad there. But I tend to write when I get home.
Luna, I think you could handle a tattoo, Luna. It's cathartic. It's hurts at first, but then you just get used to it. It just goes numb. It's okay. You'll be fine. Come on, let's go see Dan and get your first tattoo. Come on, let's do it.
My very first tattoo, so I have a crazy idea for the woman that is afraid of needles and is really scared. I want the right side of my body because I'm very dualistic. I have like a gothic, edgy, graveyard, Halloween kind of vibe. And then on the other side, I'm like pink, girly, Sailor Moon, kawaii, Japanese. So I want to do like my whole right of my body is going to be my girly side, like the pink, girly, bows, Hello Kitty, stuff like that. And on this side, on the left side, left-handed path is going to be my goth, gargoyles, kind of bats, kind of
What you might want to
Halloween.
do is like for one side, the like dark and creepy side,
Hmm.
get an artist who does that, who specializes in it, and on the other side, get an artist who specializes in the lighter, happier stuff. You know,
Yeah, like bows and Hello Kitty, and yeah, that's what I was thinking. Having two different, or more than two different artists, like artists that focus on like the girly stuff, and then
yeah.
artists that can do like a gargoyle or like a bat or something very well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I would think like maybe for I mean it's up to you obviously, but I was thinking maybe for like the lighter side, maybe people do like the more like kind of animation type stuff. Like there are some people like Jesse Smith or T Whitfield that are really good at that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was thinking like Aristocats from Disney, having that kind of like
Yeah.
cutesy kind of thing.
Well, I
But I
think
don't know, it's an idea. I've been pondering it. And what I think would be super cool is like, like on the back, like kind of like where both sides meet, kind of having like some sort of like cool welding of both, like intertwine in the middle and then they
one thing
branch
I do
out.
think about the back because a lot of people like put stuff all over the back, and like if you put just a bunch of random stuff, it kind of looks like Where's Waldo? So
Yeah.
I think like the back is like a canvas. So the last thing you want is like a bunch of little paintings in one canvas. So
Mhm.
you could even melt stuff together, but put something in the center that looks like nice and open.
Yeah, like a little bit of both together. I think that brings the whole piece
You could have
together.
like one creeping in on the side, the other creeping in on the side, and something kind of neutral in the center that like maybe states both.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
I
Oh,
think it would, yeah.
Yeah.
oh, Dan, I'm so inspired right now. I just
Or
gotta.
having like a one like wings on your back, but one's like a dark black
See, but
wing and the other one's all like cute
you know
and
how many
pretty.
people have done that? A lot of people have done
Yeah.
that. Yeah, like I've been tattooing for 25 years, and I've seen that. I'd say at least 50 times.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm like, I want
Yeah.
something unique, something that I'm only going to have. But yeah, I'm still pondering it. I think for my first tattoo, I want to do something on the left side, maybe like a Halloween scene, like a like a crow on top of a like kind of like what I got in the back, like a crow on top of a tombstone or
Well,
a
see, that
grave with like
you be
a
the first one to
moon.
get a crow, by far. I mean, I have a crow on me, but it's the crow can be portrayed in a whole bunch of different ways. So it's not
Mhm.
like, like it's the exact same crow. 'Cause it's not going to be. So
No.
yeah, that could be very cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. There's so many ideas, so many spooky stuff. I have no tattoos, so I got a bunch of skin to work with. you know, a
Well,
lot of
you
skin.
got to get started. You got to get started.
The virgin skin.
Virgins. Oh God, no. I honestly, I want to like tattoo like a little tiny heart somewhere just so I know, just so I can like commit to the feeling because I'm afraid to get a giant fucking piece for my first time because I'm afraid that I'm just gonna like get like 2/3 of the way in. And I'm just like, oh God, I can't handle it anymore. So I
Well,
kind of want to.
those tattoos are multiple sessions. It's not like you're required to get it all at one spot. You can get like a shorter session to start out with, and then something you can get like developed and it'll be drawn out to be more complex next time. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like you have options. It's not like the old days where you got to walk in, get the tattoo, get out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe like the black and the shading all on one session and then the color on the next one, something like that. You know what I mean? So it's
The other
not
thing,
so overwhelming.
you know that it hurts less now than it used to because most people what they use now are called rotary machines, which are tattoo machines with like a little electric motor in there that control the needle. And what they used to use, like the classic machine, is called a coil machine, and those are the ones that you've probably seen with like the two coils in them. And they kind of make that noise, that clack 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 noise. And the technology for those is based off a doorbell knocker. So it's like a very old technology. So the two coils, they're electrified magnets, and they basically pull a spring down, and then the spring, because it has tension, bounces back up. So it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, and the needle you hold in place with the rubber band. So it's like it's not super precise. It's like it moves around a little bit. So it's a little bit of a rougher feel.
Interesting. Ooh.
Do you find that one gives a better type of tattoo? Like, is it the color darker or something?
I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole with this. I mean, I can tell you, but you'd be incredibly bored. But it's like you have different needle tapers. You have like a long taper, short taper, medium taper. You have different throws. So all that sort of stuff figures more into what kind of tattoo you do than the machine you use. It's like how you tune the machine, basically. So I mean, it's kind of like, for instance, a car. Like some go faster. Some, they're better at 4-wheel drive. Some have more torque, whatever. So you just have to, like, the components you put together with and how you tune it kind of makes it more appropriate towards certain things.
And then I'm sure the skin tone comes into play, and some people are going to take
there's a lot. There's
more than others,
Yeah. The skin tone, there's a type of skin, like the
texture too. Like if you work in the sun, you're gonna have that like leather skin.
Like the worst are the bikers, because like the bikers, like the Harley Davidson bikers, they have
leather skin.
They have what we call crocodile skin, because like you're trying to tattoo them, and it's like, holy shit, I can't get the fucking ink in there. I can't, it's like there was a guy I was tattooing at one convention, and I forget his name, but his name was like very like stereotypical Harley like television guy. I was like, is that really your name? And I'm tattooing him. It's like you pull a line and the skin is so tough, the line's not even there. You're like, fuck. So you go back and you very slowly pull. Yeah. And because you have to do that, because the skin is so tough, he feels it more. So he's like, which the whole thing was down there.
He might need the old Japanese samurai style.
Yeah, they call it tabori, where they pound it in. Yeah, it actually the Japanese didn't pound it in. They have a long like wooden almost like wooden chopsticks, but like with the spread of needles. So they tap it in. But the ones where they pound in, those are more the Hawaiian style, where they have like usually what it is like a sharpened bone on the end of like a wooden stick, and they'll tap it in.
Ouch.
And actually, in last thing I'll tell you, because I'll keep you here forever, but it is. But what they would do in Hawaii often is the more tattoos you had and the more elaborate your tattoos, the higher you were in society, because the more they thought of you. Because the better it looked, obviously, the wealthier your family was to afford a good artist. And the more of your body that was covered, the more of a man you were, because you could stand the pain. So what they would do is you'd have one tattoo hut that they built, and they'd have a tattoo witch doctor, and they drug you, and you get all of it as much as you could take at once.
Nice.
Wow.
Like back in the day, Luna, me and you were the rich class, the ladies with the meat on us.
Yeah.
The meat and the tattoos. I like it. I'm gonna get rid of my anxiety of needles and definitely come in for a nice piece. There is an artist in New York that does the girly stuff that I'm like, ooh. So that'd be an
There
interesting
you go.
trip, right? Two
One
birds, one
stop,
stone.
one stop shopping.
Yeah.
Who's the artist? I know most artists here.
Um. Oh God, I'm blanking on her name. I'm blanking on her name, but she moved from New Mexico, and she lives in northern New York now, like upstate
Okay.
New York. Yeah, I can DM you her information later. I'm just like blanking on her name, but she does some great stuff. She did a really interesting koi. I like her portfolio is really pretty.
Okay. Yeah, there's some amazing artists out there right now. Like it's
Mhm.
changed. Like when I first got into it, you didn't have that many people that like went to art school and were that good. And you had it's funny because you had like the old school tattooers that considered it just like a trade, like electrician or plumber or whatever. And they were actually mad. They hated the word tattoo artist. They wanted the word tattooer. So they said it's a noble trade. And they'd get mad at you, but most of those people are no longer in the craft because once real artists were like a lot of the stigma is taken out of it, I can make money doing art for a living, and that's what they're doing.
Mhm. Interesting. So
Speaking of
what
art, would
Mhm.
you do you have a art book already, or is that maybe something?
I a portfolio of my artwork.
No, like yeah, like like something you could publish so everyone could enjoy it.
Well, what I notice is so kind of twofold. One, if I because I've had people like I'll have a portfolio at conventions of just my drawings and stuff, and people look at that, and I have had people ask for it, but then I'll put stuff together in like a portfolio of prints or whatever, and they're not strong sellers, so it's like maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, but I do have it on display in a book so you can like look at all my stuff. And then I have a website. It's my name, danhenk.com. And you go there and it's like you can see everything I've done.
Yeah, I was looking. There's beautiful stuff there. Are you able to order prints there? I didn't see if it had that
Yeah,
ability.
yeah. Pretty much everything I have is available as a print.
Nice.
Yeah, I've it's Fine Art America. It's you go there and I have a link to it. It's like buy any of Dan Hank's merch or whatever. And, you can go there and like everything I have is there, and you can buy like little or big or print it on like metal or print it on a canvas or
Or
whatever.
like a postcard.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice, nice. I'm huge on stationery. I'm obsessed.
Well, they have it
So
on
what are you work
postcards, they have it on cups, they have it on shirts, they have it on everything.
Nice. So what do you got what are you working on for the future? Is there anything that you want to tackle that you haven't got a chance to yet?
Well, I pretty much try and look at like everything, as it develops as it goes along. I try not to make like grand plans out there where I'm not sure if I'll ever reach them. Um, so right now I have the anthology that's coming out, and what I tend to do is I do an illustration for every story. So I'm on the second to last illustration for that. Actually, no, I finished up a second to last. So I'm on the last illustration for that, and then I'll finish editing and putting out. And that's the Joke is on Mankind anthology. And then there's a convention. I'm doing a banner for them, but the drawing I'm doing is also going to be used in Meryl Davis' book, Tumbleweed, which is like Western horror. And let's see what else. Like I always have too many projects going at once. Like my girl gives me shit. She's like, "You do too much." And I'm like, "Maybe I'll rest when I'm dead."
Of having so much going on, how do you break things up so that you can focus on that one particular that thing you have to like get done, like there's a deadline for something?
Not well, but I don't know because I have a podcast, and so I put out a new episode every week. and then I have artwork I do for like books and magazines. And then I have tattoos. And I just try to juggle everything around. See, okay, what's the priority for this day? And it's hard for me to make plans like 6 months ahead of time because I'm like, I don't know what's going to be going on 6 months ahead of time. Like this might come up, that might come up. So I try, but I'm not
one
perfect.
day at a time. One day at a time.
One day at a time. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Less stress that way, right?
Right. So I got you the name of the tattoo artist. Her name's Rachel. She's over at Sweet Mementos Tattoo Studio in South Ocelic, New York. Ocelic. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Although then again, I probably shouldn't say I probably know who they are because there are so many artists out these days.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of talent out there.
Oh yeah. And like it's just a matter of what you've seen and what kind of resonates with you. So what speaking of what resonates with you, what are you working on in the future, Dan? What can we expect from you?
Well, like you said, I'm doing the illustrations for the anthology. I really wanted to write. So I have cosmic horror books, and like so, I have a whole series, like not just short stories, but a whole series. So I really wanted to write a sequel to the last book that I put out. It's called The End of the World. Which, by the way, when COVID hit and all the lockdowns, all of a sudden my sales spiked, and everyone's like, "It's the end of the world,"
Nice.
But I guess it wasn't. So unless we're all in the Matrix and we all took the what is it? Is it the red pill?
Blue I think the blue pill.
The blue pill.
We're all in a simulation.
Yeah.
Time is a construct.
Exactly. Well,
But,
speaking
I need to
of
work on the sequel to that, and it's going to be like a whole like alien. There's an alien invasion. There's a whole like guerrilla like group of people fighting it. And my dad's retired, but he's military intelligence, so I figured he's the right reference to go to for that. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. But right now, I'm trying to finish the anthology and get that out.
Right. Real quick, if you guys want to check out Dan and his stuff, go to his website, danhenk.com. And you'll be able to see some videos. You'll be able to see all his books, his drawings, paintings. You can buy merch. Look at his blog, events. If you want to check out his podcast, interviews, anything that he's done, if you want his newsletter to see what Dan's up to. So there looks like a lot of interesting stuff going on. And I highly recommend you check out his website for all the upcoming stuff. And then whatever you guys do, just make sure to support Dan. He's a fantastic human, and Dan, I appreciate so much you're able to sit down with us and talk about all things art, horror, even tattoos. Like we gotta get together more often. I love this.
All right, awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I love to talk horror.
Absolutely. Kat, do you have anything else before we wrap up?
So next week we have the Horrific Tales Volume 2 Cryptoids with the Horrific Podcast. So that's what our
I just interviewed that guy, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
awesome.
Did you?
Yay.
He was in the last episode of my podcast, which came out yesterday.
Oh, there you go, guys. If you want to get a
small world.
You all kind of talk together, yeah.
If you guys want a sneak peek at what Dan is doing and what we're doing next week, check out his podcast from yesterday then. That sounds awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dan. And I cannot wait to see you guys next week. We'll bring you guys a lot of updates. And we're definitely working on a lot. So I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend.
And have a happy Easter.
Yes, happy Easter if you celebrate.
Bunny Day.
And if you don't celebrate Easter, there's 420. There's WrestleMania's going on. So definitely other things too.
Happy Zombie Jesus Day. So
nice. Yes, I love that. I need a
I-
T-shirt.
I'm just here for the candy. That's all. Easter
Yeah,
candy.
right?
I'm the fat kid that wants the Easter
I'm
candy.
having an
so
egg hunt for my coworkers, so it'll be fun.
yes. You guys take care, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And I want to thank you for listening to Delight and Fright with your hosts, Luna and Cat, a podcast for outcasts.